I'll require supervision. And whose job is that? Okay, so we're gonna try and make it easy for you, but you gotta do your jobs too. That means stay up with that agenda. Make sure you put your opinions, your needs, your problems in the proper manner so that we can get to them. Let me ask your opinion about something. Would you rather receive, so every time I receive an email from you, would you like a robo response just to acknowledge that I did receive the email? You like that? Okay, we got that, Vanilla? Okay. I wasn't sure because sometimes robo responses, they don't go over whatever. So, the number one issue with District 1.
Traffic.
What do you got?
Roads.
Not enough daycares. Okay, so what? Roads? Traffic congestion?
Yes.
Okay, so what have we done about that so far as your commission?
Nothing.
Oh, wait.
You've added development.
Oh, wait. Let's tell you what we did. Number one was, if you tuned in to our January 7th work session, I think we're doing a lot in 60 days. We have at least acknowledged that we have a traffic issue, okay? We have a traffic issue. What's number 2 in District 1? Development. Okay, overdevelopment. And would we say water might be something that's important? Water and sewer. So welcome to Florida, either too much water or not enough, right? Now remember what I said about District 1 being geographically larger than the rest of Manatee County combined. So in my personal estimation and opinion, and I would welcome yours, is if we're going to expand into twice the size we are now, basically, we're going to need what? Infrastructure.
EMS first.
EMS, infrastructure first. Okay, so the next question comes, how do we get there from here? Because you're hearing this, and again, I'm a 8th generation Floridian. It has never not been always a little bit behind as far as our infrastructure and our growth, but not too far behind. I've never went in the whole public school system to a school system that wasn't overcrowded. So the fact of the matter is that we live in paradise, and you're never going to stop people from coming to paradise. But on the other hand, you can't put 10 pounds potatoes in a 5-pound sack, right? So, and my other example is, what do I say about the water trough? Charlene, what's the water trough saying?
I don't know.
You can't empty a horse's water trough with a teacup while you're filling it up with a fire hose, right?
That one.
So now we either got to get a bigger teacup, right? Or turn off the hose. Or maybe, because this is the way life really works, is you got to find a happy medium with it, okay? So we got to solve our traffic issue. We've got to solve our development planning. And we've got to do something about our water needs and our water control. So what have we done in the last 60 days about that? Well, let's start from the bottom. We're reversing that wetlands decision. Did you see the work that was put into that? And because democracy could be a wonderful thing, bureaucracy moves slowly, but we're going to get her done, okay? Because this is what the people wanted. What was our next one up? Development. Listen to those meetings. Get involved in those land use issues. I'm working on a few things now. You all know that I've been on the other side of this and gone through the process to learn the process. And the first thing we have to do is understand how things work, okay? Those of you who have worked with me before, you know that I've been really into the land use issues in District 1. Well, actually, countywide. You know, I live here. This is home. And we do have issues, okay? But they're not insurmountable at this time. And I'd like to be a little bit, I'm not going to promise you that I could do something that I know is going to be a long process and may not solve the problem. But you guys have got to speak up, and you've got to be aware. So where I'm working at right now is to increase your awareness of how it works and where we're at. One of the things that I had requested, how many of you are familiar with our mapping system that we have on our website? Never used it. Very good. So you know that you could go in there and you could create a map that shows District 1 and all of the growth that is planned for District 1, right? And you also know that you could go to that map and you could see when the public hearing dates are, the VOCC meeting dates are. There's a lot of information with that. But it's a little bit difficult for us to maneuver, and we're making improvements on that. I'm also introducing, how many of you have ever gone to a planning commission meeting? Okay, I got all the activists in here, Charlie. These are my peeps, so these are my people. How many of you are, these are good ones, and I'm gonna course you on this too. How many of you have ever heard of the Development Task Force? Oh, Charlene, you don't.
I don't count.
You don't count. So how many ever heard of the Development Task Force?
Nope.
I know. And how about a Development Review Committee?
Yeah, I've heard the development.
Okay,
Is that-
okay.
Is that the panel that
Yeah.
hears the projects?
They kind of get together once a week, and it's between the planners and the applicant to kind of work things out.
And the one attorney?
Yeah, this is a gentleman that could tell you. He's been trying to get a daycare built, so he knows working through the system here.
Application.
Pre-application processes, right?
Is this a group of 6 or 7 that are the planning committee?
No, that would be the planning commission. This would be staff that works with the applicant to make sure that everything they're submitting is going through okay there. So we're looking at this entire process of land use, because one of the problems we had from the other side was that we didn't know, people didn't know what was going on a particular piece of property until, I don't know, a whole mound of dirt
Yes.
ended up blowing into your house. Or maybe a big puddle formed where there never was a puddle before. And then you said, what's going on? And then you got a little yellow sign that says in 10 days we're having a meeting. So we're really, really working on that. And staff is working on that. You'll see some things that we'll be proposing in the meeting on Tuesday, as far as making sure you guys have a little bit more notice, a little bit more opportunity to understand what is being done, when it's being done, and why it's being done. And then what's the next thing? You got to do your jobs. And what I would suggest you do is, when you read that agenda, go right around to where these properties are, so you really have in your mind. And share that with other people too, because as I said, we have a lot of people that haven't lived here for very long. So if they see that there's a project or something on it, it says, it's on 60th Street East. They don't know where 60th Street East is. It could be right next door to them. Okay, so we got our development and traffic. So in traffic, you might have noticed, if you were paying attention to the meetings, we were looking at various ways that we could address our traffic issue. And one of those proposed was concurrency. However, concurrency really isn't the answer, so to speak. But the point of it is, what are we after? We're trying to make safe roads for our citizens, because this is getting bad out there, folks. Hopefully I'll be having a appointment with Sheriff Wells, where we're going to look at some statistics on things and start addressing our traffic issues based on a little statistical analysis of what's going on out there and what do we need to do. I am probably the only commissioner that goes through 4 districts to get to a meeting. So I start off in District 1, I go through District 5, I go through District 2, and I end up in District 3. There's not a whole lot of other commissioners that travel through everybody else's district. There's a little bit of lack of familiarity with all the facets of District 1 with the other districts. So this is where I'm asking you guys to really help me and get behind this, because we're a bit of the unknown, both to our own residents that haven't been here for very long, and to some of our staff and my fellow commissioners, that I get to serve the purpose of, number one, I am your second oldest commissioner. Thank you, Bob. Yeah, he's only like a couple months older than me. I probably lived in Manatee County longer than any other commissioner, and have probably the only one that lives on land.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not in a subdivision, I'm not in a HOA, so I rely on you all to balance how we approach District 1, because we are so varied. So, I'm gonna open this up to you guys. Be nice. You can do whatever you want, let her in.
If you have,
Well, I got
you
one.
know.
I got one.
So like this Lowe's shopping center up here, does the county talk to Benderson and determine how many slots of parking they have? Because that is the worst shopping center ever. I mean, I'm surprised somebody hadn't got killed in the parking lot.
I have no
It is
idea.
Henderson.
I believe that Parrish got assigned the smallest parking places in the world.
Right.
Is it me?
No.
It's not me.
But it's just, they haven't even got most of the restaurants open yet, it's already packed. You're not gonna be able to get into the restaurants. So my question is, does the county look at that when they're developing it and determine you can or cannot have this because you don't have enough parking?
Well,
Did
there's
we
all
look at
kinds
that?
of formulas for how much parking certain places need to have.
I need one more
And
thing.
probably that ranges based on the type of establishment, the hours of that establishment, the way the parking lot is designed. I believe at one time, don't quote me on this, and actually, Norman, you guys might be able to tell me, when we did things like,
We can't really hear
it. The original program
Sir.
was that
Yeah,
now
yeah, I'm
the
with you.
parking was going to be behind the buildings, right? Well, I got my, everybody can hear my, you can't
We
hear my
can't hear
passion
you.
voice?
No.
All right, so let's say that we might have originally designed something where we had the buildings out here and all the parking was in the back. But the merchants, were kind of not wanting that, because then you can't tell if the place is open, how much business it's getting. So you're always, the design process is always going to be to help your client to have business, And so they may have been able to finagle some parking spaces that were designed just a little bit more for les cars than they were for les trucks. So I understand what you're saying. And there does seem to be a lack of capacity for our retail versus our parking areas, and even the size of them. And so I don't know what we could do to change that. I mean, if there was enough, if there was statistics to show that merchants were losing business, or that there were accidents in the parking lot because we can't get in or out, that might justify even the business owner or the corporate owners to redesign their parking lots. But right now, it goes back to more of the traffic flow and having enough of a ratio of goods and services within an area where people would travel to and do their purchases and stuff. But I do understand very much that it is a little bit of a design problem from what I see.
We can keep it to one question each, just so we can get around the room and she can get to everybody that she can for this period of time.
So I also want to just name a couple of more issues with the traffic, I guess. I don't understand, I've only been in the area for a year and a half. My whole family moved down here. It's been years. I always come here. But anyways, I'm here now, full time. And the outlet mall. Why is there only one entrance on a side street that has one lane? Why? Make a winding road like they have going to Costco. I don't care where it goes, but it needs to go on the 301 somewhere. And I live off 60th, and there's accidents every other day. There's more vehicle remnants on the side of the road coming out of my neighborhood. And I know you guys know about 60th. And I know that there's one last piece of land that is zoned for multi-use apartments right now. So, and nothing's been planned there, so I know that there's other people here at this meeting too that wanna advocate that that last piece does not, at least maybe just gets rezoned for something else.
So we all know that land use issues that are quasi-judicial, I can address the process, what the best thing to do, and I have received already some comments on this, very, very familiar with 60th. You have no idea how to like it. I actually used to ride my horse from where Covered Bridge Estates is. Yeah. So, I know, you remember when it was Checkers was before, actually, was that before the mall? Was the Checkers? Yeah. So, and yeah, we've added a lot onto that. And I do think we have a traffic issue again with Ellington. We've got a lot of planning issues with Parrish. You know, you grow too big too quickly, and you know, what sounded like a good idea at the time ends up with time not being such a good idea. We do have a big traffic issue. We do have some hope on the horizon as far as completing Moccasin Wallow, completing our projects. And I think that's one thing that is causing a little bit of a bottleneck with stuff. When you take on too many, I mean, it's great to rebuild our infrastructure, but when you take on too many at one time, you have a strain on your materials, you have a strain on your labor, you have a strain on your equipment, and you can't do everything at once. Again, in the rest of our district, we've got two main highways under construction at the same time, 70 and 64. Actually, they're doing quite a good job on 70, but the planning on 60th, I'm very, very familiar with. So what do? You know when your issues are up on the agenda, you're following the development maps, you're looking at the project list, you're knowing when you could urge the applicant to hold a neighborhood meeting. Write your letters in, let me get them in the record and make sure they go to the right person. Speak to the case manager on the projects, and just put in your 2 cents. Because remember, in the quasi-judicial situation, we're working with the evidence that's presented to us. So make sure you present.
Do they bring those 311 calls? Because I know a ton of people who called and went online and filed about the traffic over. Does that
You
actually
could
get
ask for that
reported
information through a public records request.
Okay.
And actually, the way that they do it now is pretty darn efficient. That if you want to get that information, I'm sure they categorize it by those issues. Okay? Mark?
I would like to speak about this issue because I have the
Okay,
actual
just one moment. I'm going to
resolution
take this young lady
that
first.
fix all of this problem for everyone.
I just wanted to know, you mentioned that you got a lot accomplished. Sure.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Just wanted to let her know.
You mentioned you have gotten a lot accomplished since your January 7th work session, and you said that the first thing you did was reverse the wetlands decision.
We're working on it. It's not
You're working
a
on
done deal.
reversing the
Nothing is a
wetlands
done
decision. I would like to know what else you got accomplished. Obviously, we can go online and look at that, but I did want to hear, what else you got done.
What I'd ask y'all to do would be the meeting on Tuesday, where we're gonna, things take a process. Best way to look at it is to go back and look at the video where we're talking about getting the agendas in on a timely manner, getting briefed on the agendas in a timely manner, making the agendas more understandable to the public so that you understand what the issue is that we're voting on it, giving you more time to make your public comment, giving you more time in person to make your public comment on quasi-judicial issues. Let's see what else. Oh, our advisory committees are now going to be weighing in on subjects on the agenda. So this Tuesday's meeting, we're actually, I don't know if we're re-reviewing it or we're voting on the resolution to make those rules the way we're going to start doing things now. So that's what I think was one of the better things to come out of that meeting. We restructured how this commission is going to operate. And I think looking at that resolution 25, whatever. We'll probably tell you how we're going about that right now. But still open to suggestion, still working on a few things.
I'm gonna work a back row because I haven't done any back people.
Commissioner Oddick.
There you go.
You back?
I'm not good at that.
I know you don't like me, but at least let me speak.
Sir, please have some respect when you're here, though.
Trust me. All right. I'm a general contractor in the area, so construction is my life. Build, baby, build. But I grew up here. I love this place, and the problem with the growth with the whole system is the cart is put in front of the horse. The building impact fees that pay for our roads, pay for our infrastructure, all those are not charged to the developer until the house is completed and sold. Those impact fees should be charged before they break ground on the development, because then you would have the money to improve the roads before the people moved in, you would have the schools built, you would have the firehouses built, and the infrastructure would be there to support the development. This would also slow the developers down because they would have to lay out more money up front and be accountable for what they're doing. This is the problem, pure and simple. If you want to fix the problem with this county, you will make it so that impact fees are charged when the impact is created, and that is when the ground is broke for the development and all of that.
Thank you.
So the good news is that this is a commission that feels the same way.
Yes.
So what have we done about it so far? We have, now, I had a beef with not just impact fees, but impact fee credits, which is a whole nother ballgame, okay? There are some restrictions as far as when we collect those fees. It's not just a matter of how much, but there is a matter of when, and there is a matter of what we can spend those impact fees on. However, this commission has taken steps. Now remember, who can go ahead and explain where we were at with impact fees when this commission was elected? What our previous
40%.
Right. What we did was, and we were also tied into a 4-year plan on that, right?
Yes.
So if you followed with the wetlands things, sometimes we can undo what has been done, but sometimes the way that we have to undo it gets a little bit convoluted, okay? So bear with us, because this commission is trying to retract that decision that was made on the impact fees, go back to collecting our impact fees at 100%, and watching those impact fee credits. Because the reason that I got I got the same problem with the impact fees, but my problem was that impact fee credits were being reimbursed at 100%. Y'all didn't know that?
Two developers, not a little guy like me. That's the
Well,
problem.
yeah.
So, you know, we're only charging you $5, but if we have to give you money for something that you did to contribute to the infrastructure, we've got to pay you the whole dollar.
Oh.
So that's been a problem for a while. But not to say that there are times when public-private partnerships are better for the public good. Because sometimes in private entities can get things done faster than, you know, the government does. So we have reasons for good partnerships. And I think that's something that you're going to see this commission working with too.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next question, please.
First, congratulations on your win. It is a new day at Manatee County, literally. My question is, I live off of Rye Road, and I really take issue with the compatibility in that area. And just to give you an example, you look at the Foxbrook neighborhood, it's, you know, spaced out, less than one unit.
675.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you, 675. Where I live in Rivers Reach, we are 3/4 of a unit to the acre. So we're not like sardines. What is being built across the street on Rye Road, and keep in mind, Rye Road is a 2-lane, you know, it's like a little neighborhood road. We have 5,000 units coming on board it is not compatible to that area at all. And I understand that they, you know, they've already opened the door, I get all that, but can we please close the door on any future? It is desecrating our area, and I can't think of a better word, to be honest with you. The beauty that we had, and we were willing to drive 10, 15 minutes, half an hour more to get to things. But Rye Road with 5,000 units coming on board, I mean, it's horrible now, just even getting out of our neighborhood. Every time 75,
So
yeah.
what we need you to do is stay aware and
stay on top of the process of it. Again, with quasi-judicial situation, this is a big change between being Citizen Carroll and Commissioner Carroll, okay? But what I can do is still keep on with education, information, and how you can get involved. So you have to know where whatever it is you've got, what stage that it's in. One of the things we were working on last week was, just to give you some hints of things that we're working on, who is familiar with the project list? Yeah, you go again. Okay, so the project list is pretty much the public's first notification that something's been applied for, okay?
How can we find out before that?
Pretty well, I mean, you could submit a public records comment for all applications received in a week. Now, that doesn't mean that those applications are in process or that they're going to be processed. I mean, but that's a public record. I think that at this point, the best way to find out is through the project list, because the project list is generated once a week, and it's based on, they use another program called the Excel software, and so when an application is submitted and it's put into that software product to, project manage, they'll extract information from that and produce a weekly project list. Now, one of the things we've asked them to do with the project list, and we're still working on this, because I don't think a lot of these documents, a lot of these procedures and documents are things that are, your county staff is using these to do their jobs. We're just kind of gleaning from that. What's the best way that we can glean from that information and get it out to the public? Again, coming back with, if we give you all this information, this opportunity, and tools to make your point be heard and have your opinion in it, you gotta use it or you're gonna lose it, okay? So we're trying to get the project list, which right now, I don't wanna tell you the whole story of how we probably got the project list where it's at today, but you could go to the neighborhood registry on the website and sign up for an email, which then tells you when the project list is on the website, or just go to the website, and it's about every Monday or Tuesday that's published. Now, what we're trying to do is get it a little bit more easier to read and by district, and give you all a map, because a lot of times they might list just a parcel number. They don't list an address. And then you have to go from there to the property appraiser's office and look up the parcel number. So we're really working on that. It's something I've really had my teeth sunk into for a couple years. So let's start there. And you guys keep an eye on what's going on in your neighborhood and get those emails in. Get to know the case planner on any project that is in your backyard or going to affect you in any way. Get to know your case planner and make them your next new best friend.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have about 20 minutes, so I'm going to come back in the corner because I've missed a couple people. Can you pass this down for me? Sir, in the corner, you'll be next. Okay, thank you.
Congratulations, Miss Carroll, on your win. Well deserved. We've lived out in Parish for about 45 years now, and we've seen a lot of changes. We've seen from orange groves to cattle pastures to what we have now. Crazy, but it is what it is. My question to you is, what are you going to do as far as future growth and businesses in Parish to protect us? We're still landowners out there, and we still live there, and we still want to enjoy our life the way we understand. There's change. It's inevitable. You're not going to stop it. But when you have a business next to a residence and the county didn't take I say preemptive steps to kind of protect us. You got pollution, you got lights, and you got, I can't think of some of the other flooding, but anyhow, and harassment from the businesses when you step up against them. You go to the business, you ask them kindly, before you have to take any steps, before you're reaching out to any government or any federal agencies, and you ask them politely to make some corrections, and basically they double down on it, and they just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. We're living a nightmare right now, right on 301 with a business. I'm wondering why the county didn't protect us as landowners and homeowners that were next to these businesses. Back in the 50s, these houses were put there. In the 50s, well, the house we're in now, I think, was put in there. It was moved from, I think, Cortez out to there. It's an old cracker home. We love it. Probably a 100-year-old home. We love it. We could live in these subdivisions, no offense to any of y'all. They're nice. They're great. It's not where we want to live. We like our chickens. We like our cows. We like our lifestyle, as you well know. What have y'all done, or what are you going to do with the future growth to protect us? Because we're still here, and we shouldn't have to be uprooted because these folks want to do this to us. And I got tons of pictures, tons of evidence to show you probably the last 18 months of the hell we've been living through with a business. Sorry about my language, but that's how I feel. It's truly a nightmare, and these folks think it's correct on what they're doing. They justify their means by belittling us. I could go on, but it's a bad situation. What are you going to do in that situation? Thank you.
Can you pass that down to him so he can send us the
I have one.
pictures?
Thank you.
Pictures and information.
And Mr. Charlie, that's directed to you as well.
Yes. Dang great man trying to grab.
Okay, all right, so, hold on. What are we gonna do?
Absolutely, that's why we're here.
I am one person. I've got to get 4 votes on that board to make anything happen. You'll notice that in the first couple meetings, I got a little griff for voting no. What did I vote no to? To the same things that I voted no to, that I protested, that I didn't. My famous words, no good will come from this. So, I was a little bit chastised on, well, it's just a site plan. It's too late now. It's a formality.
Absolutely.
If I said no, I mean no. That hasn't changed, has it? So, you're going to see, again, review your agendas. We have final plats coming up. One thing, that's basically all we can do, is say no. This comes to the impact fees, the wetlands, everything else. You need 4 votes on that board. So you know who we've been kind of chumming up with over here. Yes. You know how people in other districts have obviously expressed themselves. Let's say what we really mean. Would I like to have a building moratorium in District 1? You betcha. Yes. But I'm just telling you, people, that's a tool in the box. We got lots of tools to use, okay? Probably a building moratorium is probably one of the harder things that we could get through. But, you know, there's reasons why you're saying that's what you want. That's the only thing we hear from people, is we want a building moratorium. We've got a building moratorium. But what we have to learn as elected officials is not all the time is the loudest voice the majority. So you have to make very sure that you're not just listening to the loudest voices, but you're bringing in common sense and you're listening to all the voices. So, would I love a building moratorium in District 1? Absolutely. Does Bob McCann want a building moratorium in District 5? Absolutely. Do I think we have enough work repairing after 3 hurricanes, improving Districts 2, Districts 3, Districts 4? Okay, but you can't please everybody. And instead of hitting everything with a hammer, we're going to have to use all the tools that we can. I'd like to see specific building moratoriums in specific areas until a specific time. Like, let's complete our capital improvement projects. Let's complete watershed studies. Let's look at the topography of this area, the water flows of this area, the water quality of this area. Let's get a landfill. Let's get a water reservoir out here in District 1, because we don't have the resources in the county to double the size of the county services. One thing we'd like to do is repeal 2.1.2.8, hold the future development area boundary, complete that comp plan in LDC now, this year, immediately. You know how long we've been working on that? Yeah. And we've got to take practical measures, but we've got to look at the obvious. As I was saying before, there's a lot of people that never get out to District 1. You know why? Because is Parish a destination? Parish is not a destination. You can't get in, and you got a hard time getting out, don't you? So there are things we could do. I, being a native Floridian and having my own property, and I will tell you, years and years ago when growth really hit a boom in Florida, and there were analysis done and things like that, and I'm saying this as a person who has lived here all my life and 8 generations back. I don't have a college degree, I'm not an engineer, I just know things, I remember things, and I'll tell you how it was and why it is what it is. At one time they did a study in Florida, and they determined that it takes a quarter acre of land to have a household that was supported, a household of 4, that had enough green space, water, septic tank, all that kind of things. So we've increased the density of the population, and you would think that through technology we would have increased our ability to handle that population. But it's always been a little bit out of whack. And there's things about Florida that are always going to be unique to Florida. We're not going to stop people from coming here because they love us. But as I tell people, once you get here, you have to learn to be a mindful gardener. And that means making everybody aware of things. Unfortunately, that we've had such an influx of people in population, this to them is the new norm. This is the new norm. Taking an hour to get anywhere. Taking an hour just to get down 301. Let me ask y'all something. What do you think about public transportation? Do you think that might help our traffic issues?
Definitely. We're not a destination.
Well, to just how about within the Ellington Parish area?
Yes.
So historically, with public transportation in Florida, we're kind of like California. You know, we're enamored with our cars, right? What do you think about carpool lanes?
No.
No? See, we all love our cars. We love our cars. We're going to get in our cars.
We build the houses, how about that?
It's always that. You've got to have a road.
More bridges, more bridges.
More bridges. Look, I don't need to be a traffic engineer to stand at a corner of two-lane roads and tell you that 3,000 houses built on the corner of these two-lane roads is going to work. Come on, people, right? So I've got to say that, you've got to say that, and I've got to get 3 other people on the board to say that.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I can hold off on the microphone if you're okay.
Oh, of course, you got to pass your voice too?
I'll speak up for you. So again, congratulations, Madam Commissioner. Appreciate all the communications recently. So I had a couple of suggestions. I have been talking to the ladies that do manage the comments that come in, the public comments. And it's very important to understand that you briefly touched on it. I would like you to add the project codes in a drop-down list to the comments section. So when I go
the project codes,
the project codes,
all the acronym definitions,
and the common name, because the ladies down there will attach your comment. If they know the common name, they'll get it to the right place if you don't have the project code. For example, Pope Ranch. If that's what you want to make a comment on, and you didn't know the project code, if it says Pope Ranch somewhere in your narrative, they'll get it there. They understand that that's how they link it. However, if I want to make a public comment, I would like to be able to search project number or just type in a common word or a Q and say Pope Ranch.
But
or
you have those
what-
QR codes on the little yellow signs. It's not working for you?
Yeah, right. When I'm stuck in traffic and there's one next to me, I'll QR code. But what I mean, and then I'll text while I'm driving as well. The sheriff will love it. But the point is,
Thank you for your service, yes.
so I would really like to offer that as a suggestion. But then the other thing I wanted to say is, procedurally, you've taken a beating at those meetings where they said, this isn't the right time to make an objection. When is the right time is the real answer, so I appreciate you seeing that. So I'd just like to emphasize that until the county reaches a steady state, every time you object is the right time. No matter what phase it's in, and that's really for everybody in the audience. Go online, it'll take you less than 5 minutes to put in those comments and copy and paste and put the same comment in every one of those project codes that you see. Nobody's going to be upset that you do that. But if I had a drop down, it sure would make it a lot easier for me to say, yep, that's the project that's in my backyard, whatever. 60th Street, you could just use a percentage sign as like something to just pull it up.
So
You'd get more responses
Yeah,
possibly.
so as I was saying, with the project list gets assigned a PLN number.
Yep.
If it's got a legal current address, it has that address. If it's just a parcel ID because they haven't done the rest of the stuff, then you've got that. So that's your core information that you start off with. When you go to make a comment, like especially, you get online and you go to make a comment about Pope Ranch. If you put Pope Ranch in the header, we're going to get it routed. But yes, we've had a problem with, this is something we've been chasing for years, right? And we are really working on that. And so we're working on notification upon application. We're working on mandatory neighborhood meetings. We're working on larger signage. We're working on getting rid of the QR codes, right?
Yeah.
Charlie's not going to let go of his QR code.
It was not, do not play QR codes on me.
So we have about 8 minutes, 8 minutes left, but I did want to say, sir, when you send in a comment via email to your commissioner, and if you did not get a business card, please pick one up on the way out. If there's something that comes up that you want to email, we as aides send that for a public comment. So you don't have to just go online, you can email your district commissioner directly or your commissioner at large. I have probably one last person. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Congratulations. I've been noticing in some other locales, counties, cities, they have calculations where they know how much it's going to cost for infrastructure for, say, houses and things like that. And over a year ago, this wasn't when you were on the board at all, my husband sent in a request and said, gee, how many houses have been approved in the last, and I don't know what period of time he mentioned. I don't know if it was 4 years, 3 years, 2 years. But he's trying to determine, okay, well, you got fire, how many more policemen, how many more schools, how many more 4-lane roads, how many more bridges, whatever that all plays in. If you're in business and you're going to create more widgets, then you need to know how much it costs to make a widget to begin with. So a county is kind of like a factory in that sense. So when you refer to sunshine law and send in a public records request, and he did. And he got the answer back, we don't have that information. We don't know how many houses we've approved in the last whatever. And so he just recently sent it in again, written differently, but again, and he didn't even get any response. And it's been in there for over a week. And so I guess my question is, what do we need to do to get responses? Because we're being told, hey, you need information, write in a public records request. Well, I've done it and got no response. I've even talked to reporters that have gotten no responses. So what do we need to do to get more responses for public records requests? Because those are important.
So one little tool that I've learned that I could use as a county commissioner now is to make a motion to request that the staff, correct, Charlie?
I haven't heard finish the sentence.
It's a trap, it's a trap. But one thing that we can do, and you'll see us doing this, I'm not sure, again, some of the other changes that we made to the process with this new administration. Citizens advisory committees, are you all familiar with those? So if you have a particular cause, issue, something like that, you could get involved with them. We're trying to get their input on agenda items. If we're talking about affordable housing, don't we want to hear from our Affordable Housing Advisory Committee? So a lot of that's another venue that you could use to bring an issue to. Information management with public records and things like that. So, no, we don't have a way of keeping score. So this is something that we've brought up before, twofold with this. Now, when I get a project list, that's the first thing I do is add up the number of houses in District 1. And I think on this week's agenda, we're looking at, I think we're close to about 1,000, which is not a too terribly bad week. Oh, 700, okay. So that's one way. But as far as keeping a cumulative total, probably your real estate is probably the people that have more sufficient statistics on that. Then the county could give you a list of how many permits. In the Land Use 101 thing that we're going through, there's a little chart that they've made in a PowerPoint presentation that shows they get like 7,000 applications. You know, and how many of those applications go on to the next step and the next step. But probably, I would say permitting would give us how many certificates of occupancy, you know, per year to year. That's probably more of the database for the statistical analysis you're looking for versus how much we voted on, because it's not kept that way. It's just like having a voting record, okay? You can't really look at anybody's voting record and go back to say, how did they vote on this or how did they vote on that, unless you go and you read the meeting minutes for every single, you know, meeting that they had. You can, now the clerk of court is offering a summary on the agenda. Like if you missed a meeting, you could read through, you could listen to the video, but then also the clerk of court provides a summary on each agenda docket, who voted for, who voted against, and if it won or lost. But anybody accumulating all that information, so that in 4 years you could look it up and show pattern statistics? No, there's nothing like that right now.
So then how does the county know?
How much they need to support what they're building.
Yeah, how
Well,
much water, how much sewage.
Unfortunately, and this is part of the problem with concurrency and things like that, but because of private property rights, they have to engage with each landowner on the merits of that particular, it's equal representation. Okay, so they're not really looking at, and just last week we approved 5,000 here and 4,000 there, but there is a look-see at that kind of thing. Maybe the formulas, the calculations, we also do a lot of, well, we're gonna build a school there in 2026. We're gonna make Bacchus and Wallow 6 weeks. And this is something that I think we were talking about impact fees and how we go back around to this. We are working on getting, you elected a board that wants to reverse the wetlands decision, reverse the 2.1.2.8, improve our traffic issues, continue with our infrastructure, and with the impact fees, we want to bring those up to par, right? We have had the power in that. If you listen to a previous meeting, we were arguing on the point of concurrency. We have been advised by staff that we do have justification for the impact fee increase based on a timing issues. That we've always had the power as a commission to just say no based on a timing issue. So all you need is a commission that's going to work on reversing, getting those impact fees up to par. And I'm not saying we're gonna get them at 100%. Don't, life is full of compromises, right? But I do know one thing. We kind of overpromised. We couldn't give them the 2.1.2.8 amendment and move the FDAP and keep the impact fees low. We cannot afford to do it. So our current commission is charged with correcting those things. So be tuning in on Tuesday to see where we're getting.
So my apologies, my bid boss, Mr. Bishop, told me this does go till 7:30, so we have plenty of time.
All right, all right.
Congratulations. Back to traffic. I'm sure you're familiar with the new bridge and roundabout on Fort Hammer.
Yeah.
And we live in the islands. And over here in this area, they're going to put a huge water park.
There was a skate park too.
Yeah, I don't know exactly all the things that are going to go into there. And then
No water park.
there was supposed to be a water park here.
No.
No, that's been scrapped? Yeah. Okay. But over here, you've got the boat launch area. Now, they're going to cut this road and put a 4-lane in here with a 20-foot barrier between the lanes. Our entrance here, right now, is here, okay? And our guard shack is here. We're losing all of this, and how are we going to get in? We can't get out of our properties.
You don't want to do the roundabout to get into the...
We're not going to be able to get in and get out.
I'm sure we're going to be building a fire station over here too, because we like to build fire stations.
Oh, is that what they're going to do?
I don't know why, how you...
But my point is, they're widening this road, and if you go back and look at the land over here, this is all parking for the boat ramp. And these people are going to come in and try to cut this with their trailers and their boats and launch in here and we're trying to get out of here in the morning right now, we can't. Okay? And then up here in Mullenhour, they're going to put a big shopping center in there that's going to add to all of this that the people don't want. And you got a school up there that stops traffic every morning and every evening. You can spend a half hour from 64 to this point at 4 o'clock. So I don't think that this roundabout's going to solve this traffic and all this development that they're going to add in here.
Well, I think you pointed out some things that we've been...
Okay, and we have 7 roundabouts going down 70. We've got roundabouts planned on 64. We are enamored with the roundabout. This particular area over here, very, very familiar with that. I do think we need to go back to the drawing board. And this is why, again, if I said no to begin with, I'm going to keep saying no. Okay? I've never been, how many of you, I'm assuming a lot of you, have participated in the workshops that we've had on the Fort Hammer Road? Probably really weren't too happy about the expansion, not just the approval, but the expansion of the approval of the Mulholland Road issue. Okay. There are more of I realize that you believe you've fallen on deaf ears, but obviously you did, because you've got in a commission that's looking at things a little bit differently. You've just got to stay on it. You've got to keep letting us know. Again, I'm not a traffic engineer, but I have been baffled at how we think they are obsessed with putting roundabouts in front of fire stations. And my daddy drove a ladder truck. I've driven a horse trailer. It's a little creepy. And we've got to work with that. I think that in your case, they may have to have some of again, I don't know how far along these projects are, okay? Because there's a lot to keep track of. We may have already sealed the deal, and that's a done deal. Charlie, anything to say?
It's a PD&E study right now, so it's...
There you go. See, it's still in a study. There is hope, right?
Send in your public comments.
Send in your public comments.
And
Remember, the most important thing is when you have defined a problem and arrived at an appropriate solution, let us know. Listen, you know, the ideas don't just come, you know, but the county staff, sometimes innovation is introduced from some of the more public sources.
They do look at it.
I'm going all the way back in the corner.
So am I.
You have to stay, Commissioner, thank you.
I'd like to talk about closing the door. I've been watching this for several years now. There's $600 million sitting in cash and cash equivalents in the utility fund. Now, I discussed this with Mr. Cruz once before, and this apparently is the money that's going to be used to extend waters and sewers out to these farms that the developers are snapping up now. Now, we don't need any more zoning changes from agriculture to planned development, mixed use, which basically is no zoning at all. It's whatever you want to put in there. So I'd like to get a straight answer about why there's so much money accumulated in that fund, and that was all created by the ratepayers. So I think we need to get that money back to the ratepayers. Let's forgive utility fees for a while, and then close the door on any more development.
Thank you, sir.
I am very, Ken has been in this for a while, and he's been very passionate and very educational to me.
Frustrated.
And frustrated. But look where we got. At least we got a voice here, and that's where you guys need to stay involved. Don't give up. Okay, so one of the things is that we have a lot of capital improvement projects, and a lot of our cash reserves and a lot of things, you'll hear about that. We've got to fund these, we've got to fund and complete the projects that we already have. Remember what I said about the teacup and the fire hose? Okay, well, we're you know, cutting down the pressure on the fire hose, and we're getting a bigger teacup, okay? So we've got to finish those capital improvement projects. Without raising, even taking, until we've kind of settled our budget with how we could use tools to improve traffic quality and to slow down growth until we can have the infrastructure in there. I have a lot of faith in, we have a wonderful person, if you've ever dealt with Sheila McLean, that is our what is her title?
CFO.
She's the CFO, Chief Financial Officer. If she, I relate because I'm a bean counter too, but this woman, I think our finances are, and that is one department that I can't say enough about, the knowledge and the skills of this person and knowing where we're up against. So maybe we need to complete the capital improvement projects that we've already got, because we've got the money for that. It's been set aside in reserves to do it. But we have been waylaid by weather, by labor, by cost of materials, and by that fire hose, just giving us more and more before we could even catch up. So we may need to not make an investment into any more capital improvement projects until such time that we've completed the ones we have and we have a better idea of, like you said, what are our needs? If we're going to put 5,000 houses in here that have 2.5 children apiece, show me the schools where they're going to go to school. Show me how you're going to have 3,000 houses with, what is it, eight roads a day feeding into a 2-lane road that I can't get back into my house with it. So, one thing, again, like I said, you guys keep the pressure on, watch what we're doing, when we're doing it, and understand that there's going to be a lot of tools that we could use. Again, would a building moratorium solve that problem? No. You're still going to have to take the time to design, redesign, actually fund and construct. One of the things that y'all didn't bring up that I want to make sure we know we're all working on too is back to water. Remember we said water was one of our issues. We share our water and our water quality with a lot of municipalities too, right? And I know the city of Bradenton just recently had another breach. I believe that this afternoon, the county building didn't have any water either, did it? So we all suffer together, isn't that fair?
Yes.
And is it city water that we're on at the Manatee County building? I won't be in on Monday, you know that. So, that's wait, we have water. So anyway, let's look at it this way. We also have aging infrastructure, okay? Even if the gods shed down on us all the money that we needed, it would still take about 5 to 10 years before you could even everything up, okay? So be patient and stay aware.
Okay, I'll come to you after her, okay?
First of all, congratulations, and like you said about letting you know when you do a good job, thank you for voting no on the Riverfront PDMU right across the street.
Y'all don't make fun of me if I vote no on everything. Are we together with me on that? Let's just say no. Let's say no.
Just say no.
So thank you for,
Except for the daycare, yeah.
thank you for voting no on that
No, I can't
rezoning.
say that. Hold on, I can't say that. Can I, Charlie?
No. Thank you for voting no on that rezoning for the 6th time. So when we do come to these land use meetings and we're putting in our public comments, what is the best way for us to
hire a lawyer?
Well, yeah. If we're doing that, but then we also come, what is the best way for us to present our concerns so we're not just seen as, the angry hicks who hate change, who are against these developers with all the money and shiny presentations.
So we're on you're on trial, right? Okay. So you have to bring evidence.
You have to bring evidence, expert testimony. Hire a lawyer. Actually, and listen, I'm not joking about that. You know, go to your your colleges, go to your community colleges, go to state. There's always there are people out there that are studying land use. Encourage people to get into the legal field. It's very difficult to find to procure, although it's very expensive. It's very hard to find one that doesn't have conflicting issues. You have to have a consensus of opinion of people. And you've got to be consistent. And also what happens is we have a cow pasture that, you know, we're going to start to see a little, and if you don't stay on it from soup to nuts, people lose interest, and before you know it, that what started off as a 100-house subdivision is now turned into a 1,000-house subdivision. Okay, because you got to stay on it every step of the way, and understanding now they are going, and understanding that land use process is the best way. So you know what steps are taken, who's taking them. Like I said, make the case manager your next best friend. What you can do that could also help is pictures. Pictures are great. When I'm looking at items on the project list, I do a ride by. You know, same thing like with properties that we look at on the LMAC. You know, I'll do a ride by. So bring pictures with you of that area. Go to the Audubon Society and ask them to help you document wildlife in the area. You could look at historic precedences on things. You know, going to our Historic Preservation Board, you know, maybe they have some information that makes this area, you know, to be protected for some other reasons and things like that. So you're in a legal courtroom. You must present evidence and experts. So we don't exactly have a list of what qualifies as a bona fide expert. I mean, you know, I've taken pictures of dead possums on 301 for years, you know, And so that's that's the best we can tell you to do, is stay in there. And again, when your commissioner votes no, thank you. And understanding, this is what we were basically told, that we have had the power all along to turn off the water faucet or get a bigger teacup. So all you have to do is say no at that commission level. So I'm going to keep on doing it. And I need a fourth. So you're going to need to help me email your commissioners at large. Well, we've got one on our side. And give us the power to say no. And the best thing is, when you guys start saying, we want you to say no, and we want your commissioner in your district to say no, you guys have the power. You got people elected, and you can keep them in line by you staying and doing your jobs.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm going to hand you the microphone. But when something is on the agenda and the commissioners across the board, there's 7 of them, and they're going to vote on something, if you just email your District 1 commissioner, that's 1 vote. So what do you have to do? Email all the commissioners. Okay? Thank you.
That was actually the beginning of the answer to my question, which is how can we support you in your leadership of this county commissioner, board of commissioners? Is how can we make sure that you continue to sway the no vote on things? And so I did not know that we could also work with the other county commissioners and send them emails as well. But are there other opportunities for us to support you as the leader in that?
When I start fighting for you guys to get a good project list, make sure you read it. When I make sure that we are required to have neighborhood meetings before any item that, how do they do that, anything that is I forget how they worded it, but basically any land use item, mandatory neighborhood meetings on those. Go to those meetings. When there's a public hearing, go to those meetings.
Or call in.
Or call in. For the love of God, people, we just got you the call. Who called into a meeting last week? Okay, you guys. And the rest of you?
I was there.
Okay, you get a pass too. But come on, we fought for you guys to get the call-in comments back. And what are we getting? 454. Oh wait, and then Liz. And they have Mark's number and Glenn's. But we used to have a joke that there were only 100 activists in Manatee County. I don't think that's true. I think we're all activists. So you're going to call in. You're going to listen to the meetings. You're going to send emails. You're going to call 911, 311, citizen comments, emails. You said no robo answers, right? I'll get to you, right? But no robo answers. We don't like robo answers. Okay. And then if you don't hear back from me, give me time to get adjusted here. We are going to have as many meetings as you guys want. Now, there's lots of rules and regulations. When I was Citizen Carol, if I was Citizen Carol, y'all be sitting around my bonfire right now out in the field. Okay? But I can't do that as a county commissioner, because if one of you tripped and fell on my property, and then I'd have to take you to the train station.
You have one more.
So anything you guys want to do with your HOAs, we're trying to go through. How many people here live in an HOA? There you go. Now, we want to visit all your HOAs, because that's a good way for us to, so you got to get your HOA presidents to get with Vanola and set things up. I'm willing to come on Saturdays and Sundays, especially if there's food involved. And so we're thinking our HOAs are a great place for us to, now understanding that HOAs have nothing to do with county commission as an HOA, but it's a good way to gather your people. Emergency management is starting their series of hurricane preparedness type things, and they're having them at 9 to 11 in the morning. We're also getting the Citizens Academy going up again. That's another thing you could do. Norma, You took the Citizens Academy course. You did. And what was your grade?
A+.
Was there a test at the end? And you're still on the planning commission, right? Planning commissioner. I know it's a public information. You know, we just got new people on the planning commission too. Lorraine Prosser here, planning commission member. You can send her
cards and letters.
This is the last question, I'm sorry.
She knows how to say no to. There's my name.
Good evening.
Speak into the mic.
That's right.
So I have a question, and it's more of a statement and a question in the same thing. And there's so many things that I could talk about, and I'm sorry. I'm sure you guys are getting like completely tired of hearing me. But we've been promised that this report that's coming out from this West Palm Integra Solutions, whatever, the one that's doing this report on the water, okay. From what I've been told with all these meetings that I've had with staff and talking to all these different people that's in Manatee County, this is only focusing on the dams. So how is this going to be like this bombshell report that is supposed to take care of all of our questions and answer all the questions that we were asking for county-wide, if it's only focusing on the dam?
Got that. So,
Thank you, sir.
all right.
In Adventures in Commission Land versus Citizen Carroll Land, I will tell you that I was talking to Dalton about this morning. A lot of the same frustrations. Anybody seen the organizational chart on our website? No, there isn't one. So, I did ask a lot of questions before this meeting. I did have a briefing on the issues as they stood with Braden River area, which I thought was strange because I went to the meeting for a briefing, and all they talked about was Braden River and how the dam didn't affect the river, and maybe it was that. I said, wait, what about District 1? What about how the dam and Golf Course Road and 675 and all these areas over here? And I'll be very honest with you. I'm a little frustrated too. So even before this meeting, and I will tell you that Evan Pilinchowski, what is his title? Deputy Administrator of Things Below the Ground. I see Brian's above and he's below. And then there's Courtney. I wish Charlie was here. He knows I give him crap. Oh, where is he, Charlie? Okay, so I really like Evan a lot. I think he's a very, he's probably one of our best and brightest. He's been very, very open with me and totally understanding where I'm coming from as far as District 1 and this flooding thing. I asked for an update before this meeting. Evan, unfortunately, we had a flu going through the county. Evan was one of the ones that was sick with it. However, what I was told is that February 19th, they will have a work session where this is going to be addressed. That didn't sit especially well with me either. So I have a meeting scheduled with Evan and Tom Person. Because here's the thing, guys. We know what we asked for. We wanted an outside investigation into what the heck happened. Okay? Now, we all know, and let's be honest here, it's not any one thing. Okay? In the meeting that I was in where we did talk about the Braden River issues, let's face it, we're dealing with data that's 15 to 20 years old. We have changed the topography of this area. We have changed the water flow of this area. We're relying, and now they're going back and they're doing the water studies for the areas that already have a problem. You know what I mean? They're very expensive. However, and this is a good note for Charlie, and you'll hear about this in the meeting on the 28th, we have received funds that will be used for projects to mitigate our stormwater issues from the hurricanes. So I would like to get a little bit more updated because I'm not getting answers either. And I will tell you, I very much know these areas we're talking about. Very, very much know them. So I have as many questions as y'all do, but let's be fair and factual about things. Not too many things are due to just one cause. It usually takes a perfect storm, a series of errors, and so be fair in your evaluations of things. And as I've said, no matter what, once we have identified the problem, what's the thing we've got to work on is how do we fix it? Not who do we blame, not whose fault it is, but put that energy into what do we do about it now, no matter how things went before. Listen, they could have built a much bigger reservoir back about, I don't know how long ago that was.
60 years.
60s, right?
Oh, God.
They could build another reservoir right now versus increasing. We cannot increase the size of the one we currently have. So we're going to need another reservoir. We're going to need that as part of our infrastructure before we build any more. We all know that. Is that the reason that we flooded? We all know that that area 675 has been known, and they built on it. And did we say that no good will come from this? Yes, we did. So God has little blessings for us, and at least we got to be proven right. Now what do we do about it? So hang in there. I'll be talking to Evan before the 19th.
At this time, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight for Commissioner Carol and first town hall. That's safe travels. And Commissioner Phelps, we'll see you guys on your way out. Thank you so much. Take care.
And next time we're doing it at my house, I